Good afternoon, everybody. Do we have some Friday content for you folks? It's March 7th, 2025. I'm Dave Neal, and here are all the stories for your rush hour ride home. I got Tiger King updates from prison. That's right, not the only prison updates. R. Kelly also calls in from prison. He sings us a new song. We'll share that. And new Blake Lively smears. I talked to Donna Bowling. She is a fantastic YouTuber and podcaster. We share some never before heard tea about what's going on there. I'm getting text messages as we speak about new smears coming. They are coming for ya boy, folks. They got nothing on us. We're just sharing the news, and I've got it all for you, but I'm going to explain the blueprint and what to expect from mainstream media trying to use politics in order to keep people from covering Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively. And speaking of politics, we're going to end it with town halls. They've canceled all the town halls, and what's going on with interest rates. You're trying to buy a home? Good luck with that. All of these stories and more happening right now on The Rush. All right, trust me, stick around for the Blake Lively stuff. We're going to be getting into it in like literally 7 minutes. But first, hey, congrats to Pawn Stars Rick Harrison. Proposes to girlfriend with prize pawn shop ring. Let me tell you something. I'm not shaming anyone who gets a ring at a pawn shop, but it's got to be a tough sell. It's got to be a tough sell when your girl's like, hey, where's your Gibson guitar? And you're like, I changed it for this piece of mineral that I'm going to now put on your finger. But either way, good for him. That's right. The family from Pawn Stars, I mean, talk about, they've been famous for a long time now. So he pulled the old diamond ring off the shelf, and she said yes. She said yes. All right, how about this? Amanda Siegfried confirms that Mamma Mia 3 is on the way. Nobody asked. She's delivering.
What's cooking when it comes to Mamma Mia 3?
Oh, yeah. Mamma Mia 3 is happening. It's going to happen in Greece, hopefully before 2038.
Oh, come on, Amanda. Are you in production?
No.
No? Are you hoping maybe by the end of the year?
Ideally, it would be like summer 2026. That's just my schedule.
I mean, could you imagine? That'd be so great. Who needs one Mamma Mia when you can have 3? And either way, I mean, any movie that films in Greece seems like it would be worth it, right? All right, well, speaking of amazing things in the world of entertainment, that was a weird transition. We got Joe Exotic. It's a Friday afternoon. What do you want from me? Joe Exotic on a prison phone call pleads with President Trump as his husband faces deportation. What a wild time to be alive. Have a listen to this.
Because they're in the process of deporting my husband today. To God's truth. Before I met him, I prayed every day that my heart would stop. And that is all I prayed for today, is to just let God in this for me.
So he says, my husband's going to get deported. He's pleading with Trump to stop this. And I got to say, I'm not saying Tiger King should be pardoned. I'm not saying he should be, but I think they got to reinvestigate this guy. He's kind of an idiot, and he went to jail because they sort of entrapped him in a plot to kill Carol Baskin. Remember Carol Baskin? And by the way, isn't her ex-husband like dead somewhere? They never found the body. Like, there's a lot of weird things going on. Can't we call it a draw and just let him out? We'll put him on, I tell you what you do. Let me tell you what you do. Put him on, you let him out of jail, give him his own little tiger place to roam. No real tigers, but give him a little confines and put him on some sort of house monitoring. And then I think we're okay with that. But either way, in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, it's sad to think that you might have your partner be deported. What kind of world is this, Isn't it when you get married, you get a green card? I don't know how it works. But either way, this is 2025. Tiger King pleading for his partner to not get deported. R. Kelly is not deported, but he is in jail. He, I guess a podcast was able to get him on the air. This is wild. Like yesterday we covered that we had Sam Bankman-Fried, or this morning, Sam Bankman-Fried went on Tucker Carlson's show. Are we just letting prisoners do podcasts now? I'm not entirely against it. They're still in jail, but here he is singing a new song on a podcast that he's working on. Have a listen to this.
I was called and told to sing happy birthday to somebody. What's up?
How are you?
I'm great. You ready?
Oh, you gonna sing to us? Okay.
We are ready.
We're ready.
Standing here looking in the mirror, saying damn to myself. I should have known the day would come. She would find somebody else. And all the things I took her through, Shit, I shouldn't have lasted this long. Now I'm at this telephone booth, literally calling Tyrone when a woman said,
Hey.
All right. So, I mean, could you imagine being on the phone next to this and be like, R. Kelly's singing a song? I know, obviously, R. Kelly, and for a lot of reasons he's been proven guilty of, is a monster. How does a monster like that get such a silky smooth, perfect voice? Now, you might say, oh, his voice isn't that great. Okay, but he can sing bars. You know, you can say he's a monster, but let's not pretend that, he wasn't sipping on Coke and rum. You know what I mean? Like that's a song my generation of older millennials, that's a song that would get you on the dance floor at the wedding. Oh, the wedding's not looking too good? You put R. Kelly on. Now, thanks to R. Kelly's monstrous behavior, he puts us in this sort of moral conundrum where we got to decide if we're going to sing along or not. Up next, we have Donna Bowling joining me for a quick interview. We are, some of the content creators that have been covering Justin Baldoni v. Blake Lively. And what you notice when you cover things is a trend of smearing, control, trying to put people in political boxes in order to shame their listeners into maybe not listening to their content. We see all of this playing out. You guys trust me. You've been following me for a decade, some of you, and we're not going to play that game. But let's discuss the blueprint and the strategy we're watching play out with our own two eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited today to have a returning guest to the podcast. She's the host of the Daily Dose of Donna. It's Donna Bowling. How are you?
I am so good to be here with you, Dave.
Oh, man, it's so good to see you. I just saw an Instagram that you had shared covering Blake Lively and Taylor Lorenz. So Taylor Lorenz just posted that, I'm going to read it right here. She posted, I wrote about how right-wing creators are dominating the coverage of Lively versus Baldoni, how it has become a massive growth engine for the right-wing media pipeline. You responded and said, what Taylor is conveniently leaves out is how many left-wing and independent creators are dominating the coverage of Lively versus Baldoni. So what are your thoughts on making this political?
Well, I think in general, we've seen this already now for a few months. I feel like since Candace Owens started talking about it, actually even before, Megyn Kelly had Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's attorney, on her show because Megyn Kelly has a relationship with Brian since he represented her in her famous NBC, I believe it was NBC, I can't remember now, lawsuit. And that immediately became a thing, right? Oh my gosh, Megyn Kelly, who, that's the conversation. She's against women. She is a super right-wing, conservative woman. Look at who Justin Baldoni is getting connected to. Look at who is championing Justin. And then, of course, Candace Owens started talking about it. And then the other person who is mentioned in that article is Brett Cooper, who is a young conservative, also YouTuber. But what Taylor likes to do, and I don't follow Taylor like all the time at all. I definitely do not follow her on social media because I don't really enjoy her content, to be 100%. But I find that she really likes to call out anyone that doesn't align with her values, and her values tend to be more on the far left liberal side. And what I don't like about this narrative is that I have not seen this to be solely a right-wing led, conversation. Everyone I follow that covers pop culture is talking about this. You, me, Zach Peter, Sharsty, Popcorn Planet, Elsie, that was just on my show. I don't even know half of these people's politics.
Yeah,
it's not relevant.
And also, I see it as a very coercive tool that is used by people, again, on the far left. I always say, what's the saying? When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you do not believe and follow every rule they have, you get labeled as far right, Nazi sympathy. I mean, crazy alt-right stuff. And it's like, look, like you said, there's plenty of, you can make the argument that, by following this case and holding Blake Lively accountable, you're helping women. This isn't hurting women by exposing someone who possibly took advantage of a movement where women are wanted to be believed. It's helping real victims by going, you know what? You can't just get away with this without any of the evidence that backs it up.
Yeah, it's strange that they have taken this kind of side of, I believe, in order to believe women. And for the most part, you would think that if you are a liberal person, right? I mean, I'm not someone that follows the rules in that way at all. I don't believe that in order to be a liberal, you have to believe women. And if you are conservative. You don't believe that doesn't make any sense to me. I am someone that is very independent in my thought process. And because of that, people align me with, actually, they think I am MAGA because I don't align myself with super left wing. I'm immediately MAGA, and I'm wearing a red shirt today, so people are really going to think I'm MAGA.
I was going to say that you either work at Target or you. No,
I'm sitting on my MAGA hat today, so it's under my butt. But no, you should see the comments that are already floating around about me, just because I haven't said that I am a super left-wing liberal, because that's how it works. You're right. If you are not 100% one way, then you have to be 100% the other way. There's so much gray area in between. And especially this last year, if anything, you should see how divided it is between one side to the other. So many people fall in between in the middle, and you should fall in between in the middle. The truth is, because I think that most of us should feel a little bit torn between both sides. That's normal. And I like the fact that we should, I don't agree with believing one way all the way from top to bottom. That makes you a little bit of a sheep. I don't like that. So I think that putting Justin Baldoni in the category of only right-wing, super conservative MAGA women believe Justin Baldoni, maybe you shouldn't believe Justin Baldoni if you are a left-wing liberal. Maybe you should question that. That makes it it almost feels like a CIA PR technique. Like, if you are someone that hates Donald Trump, you should probably believe Blake Lively.
That's so funny. I was going to get to that, the CIA sort of talking point here, because you've been one to go, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but so by Blake Lively hiring ex-CIA, she's really introducing the idea that anything's on the table. Do you think that there's any sort of do you think what we're seeing is because of her PR, or is this just natural culture war stuff by, like you said, people from the far left and by the way, it's the far right too. This rigid belief that everything's my way or the highway. That's 5% on the left and 5% on the right, but they dominate 80% of the content.
They're loud.
They're very loud, and that megaphone we need to educate people that megaphone isn't reflective of real life. But yeah, so Blake's a new CIA guy. Is this something do you think is happening where content creators are going to be silenced or
well, I already saw it personally myself. I mean, I literally already saw it, and I'm speaking to Billy Bush next week about this. It's truly a conversation that needs to be had. I noticed a few things happening to my account last week on Instagram that have never happened in all my years, speaking out loudly about all kinds of things. I mean, I'm an outspoken person. I speak about anti-Semitism. I speak about world news. I speak about all kinds of things. And never before have I been in Instagram jail until I spoke about Blake Lively. I mean, what in the world is happening here? And so that happened. I had a reel that my voice went literally silent the second I said her name. Why?
And that's interesting. That I wonder if it's easier to push around Instagram than it is YouTube, because this is not even a conspiracy, but when the Depp versus Amber Heard coverage was happening, you could not say Amber or Johnny Depp. You could not say their names without it being immediately demonetized. And then upon review, it would be approved. But they did the same thing with COVID, right? They just they say, you know what? These topics are so hotbed, we're going to demonetize them, which, while you still have your freedom of speech, you're taking away the incentive to make content by taking away the money attached. Now, what's interesting with Taylor Lorenz is she's part of that mainstream media condensation that we see. They're very condescending towards content creators. Mm-hmm. She, Washington Post, before she was fired by them, had to issue a correction and stealthily edited her article where she shamed content creators who covered Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. She shamed Legal Bites, which is, I think, it was a very well-known, respected legal channel, and also Umbrella Guy, who was covering the show, and shamed them by sharing how much money they were making. That article that she used to weaponize against them was Business Insider. You and I have both been interviewed this past week for Business Insider. Are we on the precipice of being financially shamed for talking about this?
Probably. I mean, I can't imagine why not. I didn't give them a number, but they were dying, drooling to know how much money I was being paid.
Yeah, so they asked you that.
Oh, it was weird. It was let me find every possible way to find out how much money you were being paid. And I'm like, we're still doing this? I thought this was like something you don't ask people how much money you're getting paid. I said, listen, I'm working my ass off. I haven't had a weekend since December. Like I missed Christmas because of Blake Lively. Can we just assume that I'm working really hard to give my kids a good life here? I'm making money, but I'm not telling you how much money I've
We
made
should
here.
ask him how much he makes.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Jeff.
Like, yeah, Geoff, how come? And again,
Geoff.
I'm gonna wait for the article to come out because I don't think I gave him anything to work with other than I told him I'm on a senator's salary. So I told him I'm in the world of senators, and trust me, I'm working harder than these senators are that are dodging town halls and whatnot. But yeah, I told him I share my finances with my Patreon. So it's like, you can go for $5, you can go join my Patreon and find out how much I make, because I don't make it a secret. But I also told him I'm not gonna give him the title for his article because and I told him this, I was like, it's not going to benefit me at all to tell you how much I make. That's something I can make a TikTok video about if I really wanted to get the clicks. It just doesn't benefit my audience. But how much I make is a reflection of how much my audience wants to be invested in my channel. And I could do a 1-day clickbait where I make the craziest headlines and pull shit out of my ass and make a lot of money that day, but no one's following me the next day. So we have this sort of entitlement by our audience to get it right. And I think you're doing a fantastic job with that.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, we're also putting in the work. I just don't want to demean any of us like for just saying, oh, we're here just for the money. Number one, you have been around since before I even started the show. I remember seeing your stuff on my algorithm about Bachelor, about other content. Zach has been around. All of these channels, we've all been around doing things way before Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni started making headlines. This is very important for the audience and the story and people reading Business Insider and Taylor Lorenz and all of these people to know. We didn't say, oh my gosh, jumping on this idea of doing YouTube content because this is going to make us some bucks. Like, we're not those people that, decided to jump on something just to make money. Like, those people that take advantage of a natural disaster and start, making money off poor people. We literally happened to cover a story that took off. I was going to cover this regardless if it was a big story or not, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was already covering it, and then it kind of hit this fever pitch where it was like, all right, it's getting juicy, and the audience showed up for it. So they're invested. Yeah, it's so insulting to think that somebody who and by the way, Business Insider, some of these organizations, it's like, you get out of there. Like, there's no way you're making good money doing that.
They're charging for people to read one article. Like, they're just as bad as us, if not 10 times worse.
And it's good.
Free content.
It's good not just for this case, but for people to see with their own critical thinking how the game is played and how the shame can kind of work. I just don't think anyone buys it anymore. So good that we're chatting now so we can get ahead of what we literally could write the article for them. We know exactly what it's going to say, that we're capitalizing on some domestic issue or whatever, but it's obviously bigger than that.
Do you have you technically, back to Taylor, I don't know exactly what your politics are, but from watching a few of your shows talking about it, I'm assuming you are more on the left-wing liberal side.
I go by progressive because
Okay.
I think I'm at very populist stuff, universal health care. God forbid I want veterans to have resources. My father was a veteran. I'm very populist and progressive. The whole system tries to put it on this 2-dimensional level, which kind of like, I think, triggers people. But I think more people in surveys agree with my thinking that we need to do a better job of helping each other out. And I will not be put into another box. And they've tried to do this for years. There was a subreddit once that was like, is Dave Neal the alt-right? They get out of here with this stuff.
Well, so let me ask you a question. Does an article like that piss you off?
Well, if this Business Insider one goes in the direction I think, it'll just be more content for me to let people know what's up. So
no, but this Taylor Lorenz, right-wing, dominating, does it piss you off that you feel like you're being put into a category here also as just this like right-wing media?
It's like getting heckled where you don't want to get heckled. If I'm on stage, I don't want to get heckled, but I know my response with my microphone and my experience will trounce whatever they're trying to say. So So does it anger me? Sure, but it's just like, well, we've got receipts, Donna. We've got receipts that kind of show what side we're on. So it doesn't bother me in like, I don't feel like I've lost any credibility.
Yeah. Listen, all we're doing is trying to showcase the truth and speak up for someone that we believe, and I believe, I can't speak for you, but I believe, who was wrongfully accused of something on set that I don't believe actually happened at this point, and just kind of going through the motions. That doesn't make us any, I'm not bringing politics in the story at all. So to put it in that category just to make it sound like a more divisive, like I love how she says, like, we're trying to bring you into our pipeline. I'm not talking about, French trans leaders right after. I'm going straight into Southern Charm. I mean, I'm sorry if that's like a little bit of weird pipeline shit.
I'm pulling people into my pipeline. Fuck her pipeline. I'm pulling them into my pipeline. Donna's
What's your
got a
pipeline going into?
My pipeline's going right into my bank account. That's what it's doing. I got
Bring it in. Bring us into our. We're like Super Mario Brothers. Come into our pipe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's got a pipe full of content here. It's Donna from
I thought you were
Daily.
saying pipe full of cunt.
Well, that's for you to decide. Daily Dose of Donna on YouTube. You're there. You're there every day. People need to subscribe, right?
Too much of me. Yes, Daily Dose of Donna, 5, sometimes more times a day. And of course, if you're an audio listener, some people are. I'm on Spotify and Apple Podcasts every single day. I'm everywhere. And
you're
Instagram,
crushing
TikTok.
it. You've been in the entertainment world for a long time, so you just bring so much credibility. Come back anytime. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Anytime, Dave. You too.
There's a lot of people out there that want to buy a home, but interest rates are crazy, and everyone's wondering what Jerome Powell is going to do with the Federal Reserve. Will he lower rates? Essentially, what he's saying is there's so much topsy-turviness with all of the new policies, they're going to wait and see what the economy looks like, which to me feels like a fat no.
Looking ahead, the new administration is in the process of implementing significant policy changes in 4 distinct areas: trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. It is the net effect of these policy changes that will matter for the economy and for the path of monetary policy. While there have been recent developments in some of these areas, especially trade policy, uncertainty around the changes and their likely effects remains high. As we parse the incoming information, we are focused on separating the signal from the noise as the outlook evolves. We do not need to be in a hurry, and we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity.
Now, I'm in a hurry. I want to refinance, but I don't blame him, right? They're waiting for inflation to come down to a certain level. It started to in the fall, and then because the inflation came down for 2 quarters, down to that Goldilocks level of between 2 and 3%, then they could lower the interest rates. But when you lower the interest rates, more people borrow money, more people spend money. That brings inflation back up. It is a very tough balance beam there. So what we just witnessed in January is inflation's heading in the wrong direction. It's going back up. How will the tariffs affect people? We're about to see. But again, the numbers aren't going to lie. Don't be gaslit into thinking it's not happening. The numbers just don't lie.
The average person.
So they're basically saying that billionaire George Soros is funding these grassroots movements for people to go speak to their representative. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. To my Republicans in the audience, you should be pissed off because they're telling you to your face, your voice doesn't need to be heard because it's all Democrats kind of like creating this fake grassroots movement. We'll see about that. I think it's ridiculous. In the state that I moved to, Tennessee, they've got Marsha Blackburn. She hasn't done a public town hall in over 7 fucking years. Do I need to hold a town hall in Tennessee? Do I need to go step up the game? How can people continue to vote for their representatives, their senators, when they don't even listen to them? So what they're doing now is they're doing these telephone town halls, but they're only doing it with people that they know are supporters. And that doesn't mean because you disagree with them that you're a paid Democratic whatever, or a plant from George Soros. I get accused of some stuff like this. You're absolutely out of your damn mind. These are American citizens that don't want their Medicare gone away. They don't want their Social Security stripped. They want to age with dignity. They want to live a life where if they get hurt, they're not medically bankrupt, and they're veterans that want their jobs back. So I reject these notions. This is not good. The boiling point of people getting upset with their political leaders not doing anything is about to reach a level that will start to include political violence. Folks, I'm not encouraging it. This is a response to not being listened to. This is what is going to happen next. You're going to see it. You're going to see it play out. And one thing that I've seen play out is I've seen you guys as my audience, and I'm going to end the week right now with some gratitude. I've seen you guys support my voice here, whether you agree with everything or not. And you understand that the one principle we should all agree on is upholding democracy, upholding that Constitution, upholding freedom of speech, upholding the things we may have taken for granted here, like holding our elected leaders accountable, voting them out if they don't speak on behalf of the people, and really sort of trying to enlarge that middle class of all of us, whether it's left versus right? That middle class that doesn't want the levers and to be pulled in the direction of billionaires, the billionaire, social media tycoons, the billionaires that are buying elections and saying, they have so much money that they can say, if you don't vote the way I want you to vote, I'm going to spend as much money as it takes to get someone else elected. I would love nothing more than for my podcast to grow enough in size that I can personally tell you who I would endorse that's not taking corporate money, that actually wants to speak for the will of the people and listen to all of them. That's who I will be voting with, not just my dollar, but my endorsement in the futures. Who's out there to get our backs? That's what we need now more than anything. Thank you so much for helping me and by supporting me to make this silly little podcast, kind of reach new heights. It's been amazing with 6 million views this month. I'm telling you right now, I can't even begin to express how much gratitude that it means for me and my family that you'd give my platform all of that love. If you're on the podcast apps, you can subscribe and make sure to leave a 5-star review. Share us with your friends. Come on, we're doing a lot of good things here. I think if you have a friend you might disagree with politically, maybe this channel can help out because we're willing to have conversations. We're willing to speak, on behalf of people that we might either disagree with, but understand that they have the right intention. And that's what it all comes down to. Who's authentic? Who's got the right intention? Those people we need more in office, not the ones that won't speak to you guys for 7 years. Well, if you're new here, we have a little Friday afternoon tradition. Some people love it, some people hate it, and I don't care because this part's for me. Leave work, put your window down, enjoy that fresh air, cash those paychecks, and as you leave that parking lot of that Panera Bread you work at or whatever the hell you're doing on your way home, roll that window down and put that middle finger up in the sky and tell your boss to go fuck himself. It's your time now. It's the weekend, baby. We're going to have us some fun. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.